Good evening. Welcome to a special instant reaction version of 49ers After Dark. The Pro Bowl rosters were announced an hour ago, and the 49ers have 9 players on the team and 12 alternates, which means 21 of their 25 starters have been recognized as really good players, which is funny for the 4 players who did. Sorry. I won't say their names. But let's acknowledge the Pro Bowl. You go ahead.
Well, first of all, we knew that this list was coming out right before the show. That's why we planned the show for 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific on Wednesday. That's why we're here. So just let's be clear about that. Great planning on our part. But yeah, so 9 total Pro Bowlers as far as who actually made it, and then the 12 alternates. There's one glaring name that I don't see on the list as somebody who just made the Pro Bowl, and that to me is Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, he's an alternate.
Did you notice that as well?
That's just wrong.
It is. It's tough, but it's like I think 7 of the top 10 receivers come from the NFC when it comes to total yards. So it is a tough place to kind of make the Pro Bowl. But he doesn't get enough targets for it either. I don't know. It's interesting. I wish he would have made it though, because he really does deserve it.
Which wide receivers made it in the NFC?
It was Puka Nacua, CeeDee Lamb, Evans. Evans did not deserve it. Really, actually, you know who should have made it if Ayuk didn't? It was Amon-Ra St. Brown. He got snubbed, but also he didn't make it either.
I mean,
so yeah,
Ayuk led the league with 18.3 yards per catch.
Yeah,
and he caught 71% of his targets. I mean, Puka Nacua just got more targets than him.
He got a ton more targets.
Ayuk's a better player than Puka Nacua. No disrespect to Puka Nacua, but Ayuk's better.
Yeah. AJ Brown was the other one. I was trying to think off the top of my head. AJ Brown was the other one. AJ Brown deserved
better than AJ Brown. Sorry.
Ooh, I don't know about that one. I don't know if I can go there. He's better than CeeDee Lamb. I'll give you that one. I think he's better
route runner.
Yeah, he's better.
AJ Brown's bigger, but Ayuk's faster. I don't know.
Yeah, but
I still stick with my Torrey Holt comparison. I think if you put Ayuk in a different offense, he could lead the league in receiving. Torrey Holt led the league in receiving twice.
Yeah, I've just seen AJ Brown do it in multiple places now.
That's
at a very high level.
That's true. And I'm a Niners homer.
yeah, Grant Cohn, Niners homer. You heard it here first. That might be the funniest thing you've ever said.
No, here are the Pro Bowlers: Nick Bosa, Javon Hargrave, Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle, Brock Purdy, the Purdman Jr., McCaffrey,
nice.
Fred Warner, Travarius Ward, which makes me happy, and Trent Williams. Can't argue with that. It's 9. You could argue they should have more, because here are the alternates: Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Eric Armstead, Aaron Banks, Jake Brendel, Oren Burks, Drake Greenlaw, Diamador Lenore, Colt McKivitz, Tabor Pepper, Mitch Wisnowski, and Chase Young. Wow. I'm surprised Cleveland Farrell didn't make it.
How did Colton McKivitz make it? Come on, man.
I don't understand that. That one's beyond me. I mean, the only starters in the Niners who didn't make it: Spencer Burford, which is fair. Tashawn Gibson, which seems he's better than a lot of these guys who made the Pro Bowl. Talanoa Hufanga got hurt, sure. And Jake Moody. He didn't deserve to make the Pro Bowl either, although he's pretty freaking good. Wow. It's a good team.
I mean, yeah. What's crazy is I'm actually going to the Pro Bowl. It's in Orlando, and my son really wants to go.
Incredible. As an alternate?
I'm there. Yeah. You didn't know that beat writers could make it and stuff?
Wow.
In content creators? Oh, I'm sorry, dude.
Well, you're a bigger guy. I mean, I'm sure you can mix it up.
You weren't on the alternate list. Yeah, I'm there for the games, all the extra stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna be there with my son, and if the Niners don't make the Super Bowl, which would absolutely suck, then I'm going to be watching basically the 49ers play against the AFC. It's going to be great.
I like that. Is it now a flag football game?
Yeah. Flag football.
Is your son excited to watch flag football?
He is. He plays flag football, so he's excited.
I had an idea with my dad. I was talking about it. And I can't think of something I would like to watch less than flag football. So why they just split up the AFC and NFC and have them play basketball instead? I would watch that.
Oh, that's kind of fun. Yeah, but then you'd get people blowing out knees and
It'd be so competitive. What about softball? I would watch them play softball.
oh, softball. Yeah, I would be down for that.
That would be cool.
Down for softball. Yeah.
Bowling, literally any sport other than flag football, I would watch. Flag football is where you lose me. I'm sorry, I don't need to see that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's something
you guys can have fun. I'm not saying I wouldn't take my son to go see that if that's what he wants. I would do that.
Yeah. But I was gonna say, I don't know if you remember this, but back in the day, MTV used to do like a rock and jock, like flag football game and a basketball game. The flag football game was legit though. I enjoyed. Nelly was a baller. Anybody that remembers those, if you remember watching Nelly,
Nelly ran that.
He was good.
Nelly ran that. Absolutely. Yeah. Nelly would be definitely a Pro Bowl alternate if he had made the league. I thought he probably could have made it.
He was good. He was really good, man. He really was.
Chase Young,
I feel like the people that made it.
I don't think Chase Young necessarily needed to make this team, or Cole McKivitz.
No.
Or Jake Brendel. I mean, he made it 2 years in a row as an alternate. Gotta give him credit. De'Amaro Lenore definitely deserves it. Dre Greenlaw definitely. Oren Burks. No disrespect.
Special teams, I guess.
Good question. Maybe as a special teamer, because that's surprising. Yeah. I mean, what about Raymond McLeod at that point?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The thing is, it's not just the Niners, though. You can go down the whole list. I mean, Budda Baker didn't play a big chunk of this season. He made it. Bobby Wagner's a shell of himself. He made it. Yeah, there was a lot of players that made it that shouldn't have made it, probably. But you get the fans voting. That's a big deal.
Congratulations, Colton, man. What a day for the McKivitz family. The McKivitz family name. No longer.
Well, hold on. You brought up something, and this is actually, we kind of joked about it backstage, but this is a real thing, right? Colton McKivitz making a Pro Bowl alternate. Did he price himself out of San Francisco?
Yeah, if his price is more than $1 million, then probably.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's becoming a really expensive offensive line here. Dave Barclay says, "What is up, gentlemen? Catching it live from the start. Hey, what'd you miss this time? Nothing. Good to see you, Dave." John B says, "Are we all excited for the Ginger Bowl, Sam versus Carson?"
Hell yeah. The mid-off. It's going to be great.
Are they both gingers? Is Sam a ginger? I guess I hadn't thought of that. Yeah. I suppose. I'm poor. Says, more impressive, Kyle's coaching tree or Grant Cohn's content creator tree?
Oh. I don't know. It's a good one. Is it Kyle's coaching tree, though, or is it his dad's coaching tree?
Well,
they were all on his dad's staff. That's true.
Not Saleh. Some of these defensive coaches Kyle gets credit for sure. But yeah, that's a good question.
But McVay and McDaniel and all them, they were technically
are you in my tree or my dad's tree, though? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. It's a good point.
Patty G says, is it fair to say that CMC benefits more from playing with Purdy? He has a less stacked box because the use of Purdy's arm. It's a good question. Let's talk about it right now. I think I like coming back to the MVP conversation. Who is the MVP of this team? And, you can make the argument that it's Christian McCaffrey, although he went down last week and the Niners offense was just perfectly freaking fine without him. Elijah Mitchell was terrific. Brock Purdy won't play this week. We'll see how the offense does with Sam Darnold, although we saw how it did with Jimmy Garoppolo, who is a legitimate backup quarterback, and they were really good. They were undefeated. So it's possible the Niners could win with Sam Darnold. I think there's one player who is sort of like the Jenga piece that if you pull it out, things could fall apart. And I'm not sure it's 23 or 13. I might be 71. Not because he's so much better than anyone else, although he is. But the difference between Trent Williams and Jalen Moore is just probably as stark of a difference between any starter and any backup in the entire league. And when you go from Trent Williams to Jalen Moore at left tackle, you now have the cheapest, worst offensive line in the league, although there are 3 Pro Bowl alternates on it. And I'm not sure what you really can accomplish in the run game or the pass game. I'm making the argument for Trent as the MVP of this team.
I think Trent Williams, the reason that his impact is so big is because of the other 4 offensive linemen. If let's say this was Cleveland's offensive line with Trent Williams, be like, oh, okay, it's still a really good offensive line without him. They're fine, But because you take him out and then the other 4 are just I don't want to say they're all pedestrian, but for the most part, they're pedestrian. Banks is pretty good. I like Banks, but they're kind of mid. You take him out of it, it really does impact everything else, and things change a lot. What's tough is, first of all, I want to get back to the comment. The comment said, "Does Purdy make CMC?" CMC had 2,000 total yards prior to coming to San Francisco. So no, CMC's had productive seasons prior to even being in San Francisco. CMC was productive with Jimmy Garoppolo. So I'm not saying that Purdy doesn't make his job easier than Jimmy and some of those guys he had in Carolina, certainly. But to say that he's made from Brock Purdy, I think that's a bit of a reach. I don't know, man.
I think teams still play 8 in the box against the Niners quite frequently. I mean, just from my vantage point in the press box, that's what it looks like. They're still seen as a run first team, which is what Kyle's trying to play against.
Well, yeah, they run play action a ton and all those things. So I think that they all help each other. I mean, we look at it, and rightfully there's 5 starting Pro Bowlers on the offense. Purdy being one, CMC, Trent, Juszczyk, Kittle, all of them made it. And then we're arguing for Ayuk, who was potentially snubbed. That's really good offense.
Like, you could argue that Ayuk and Debo are better than Juszczyk and Kittle.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. But there's no other fullbacks.
Right.
So,
and tight ends aren't that many good ones. But, man, more valuable to the offense, I'll probably rank it Ayuk, then Debo, then Kittle, then Juszczyk.
Tight ends are starting to come up, though. There's some good tight ends that are up and coming for sure.
Some young ones for sure.
And they're all from Iowa. It's crazy.
No doubt. Yeah. Laporta.
But one thing we do know, here's what we don't know. We didn't see this team with everybody intact without just one of them missing. We never saw this whole team intact, this whole offense intact without Trent Williams or without CMC. We saw it without Trent Williams and Debo. So a lot of people thought it was the Debo effect, but really, was it the Debo effect or was it the Trent Williams effect? Last year we saw it without Debo. Last year we saw it without CMC, and we know that without Debo, the offense did pretty well. Before CMC was here, the offense struggled. I don't know, man. This one's tough. I probably have to agree Trent Williams is the most important player. CMC is really good too.
That, of course.
And Purdy's a quarterback. And Purdy's a quarterback. It's the most important position. You can make an argument for all 3.
I just feel like they can win with a lot of quarterbacks. We'll see if they can win with Sam Darnold. But with Trent Williams, like, if you lose him and go to Jalen Moore, it's just catastrophic. We saw what they looked like in that 3-game losing streak without him. It's funny that the most important player on the team is the oldest player on the team. And I'm not saying he's going to retire early, but he gets nicked up. He pulls his groin. He has an ankle injury. He's 35 years old. He doesn't practice that much anymore. He's kind of the Super Bowl window. I don't know if they're winning a Super Bowl without Trent Williams on the field. So they really have to manage him well. I'm not saying he's old, but he's not young. And he's the most important player in a lot of ways. So how they handle him is really important.
He's old for a football player.
Yeah.
And I guess the best way to look at it is, I think baseball does this, maybe basketball does this, the wins over replacement. So if you take that player out who's on your team and replace him with, say, the 15th best player at that position, what does it look like? So if you take out Purdy and you replace him with the 15th best quarterback, which is, I don't know, name a name, doesn't matter, Kyler Murray, something like that.
Right.
How does the team look? Same thing with CMC with the 15th best running back, and same thing with Trent Williams with the 15th best left tackle. Well, if you replace Trent Williams with the 15th best left tackle, this offensive line goes from already not great to probably the worst in the league, arguably the worst in the league. So, right. Yeah, I mean, I think Trent probably has a big case for this. I think the 15th best running back can run pretty well in this offense with all the other weapons. I think the 15th best quarterback certainly isn't going to play to Purdy's level, but I think the offense would still be pretty good with the 15th best quarterback in the league. So, yeah, I'd probably say if you're looking at it that way, Trent Williams would have a good case.
I'm looking at it this way. Who are their actual backups? McCaffrey's backup is Elijah Mitchell, who's a starter when healthy, or Jordan Mason, who
I agree with that.
Is freaking efficient. So even though he's a great player, his backups are really good. Yeah. Brock Purdy, his backup is Sam Darnold, who I don't think he's a starting quarterback. But I was saying he's a better backup quarterback than Jalen Moore is a backup left tackle, is what I would say.
Oh gosh.
Like, I don't have confidence in Jalen Moore. If Jalen Moore is your starting left tackle, you have to have a completely different game plan that involves shotgun, getting the ball out really quick. And I don't know where you run the ball. You're not running behind him at the point of attack. It's a whole different thing.
Let me make the argument for Purdy, though, if that's how we're going to do it. So, just because I cannot stand Sam Darnold, I really can't. But okay, if Trent Williams is out and you still have CMC and you have Debo, you can protect Purdy and kind of have a pseudo run game through a quick strike, short yardage passing game that's efficient.
Yeah.
Right. We've seen a lot of teams do this, not necessarily because their offensive lines are bad, but because the 49ers defensive line is so good, they're trying to protect their players. And so they go to the quick strike short game, and it's worked very well in neutralizing the pass rush. So couldn't we make an argument that Purdy with Debo and CMC could at least be
they can have a quick pass game for sure. Yeah. And they have great yak. But what about the run game without Trent Williams? All of a sudden, like, all their good runs are to the left, point of attack to the left. All of a sudden, you're not getting movement at the point of attack, left, right, up the middle. I don't know how. Now you're a one-dimensional pass first team that can't hold the ball more than the second and a half, and everything becomes so much harder without Trent Williams on the field. And we saw this happen. We saw it play out for about 3 weeks. Anyway,
he usually plays most of the game with Sam Darnold on the field too.
I can't wait to see this. I can't wait to see it. Sam Darnold, when he was on the field in this last game, to be fair, didn't have Trent Williams out there. Am I right? Trent Williams is out.
No. Yeah, I think so.
Colton Kivitz was the left tackle. Spencer Burford was the right tackle. So I'm a big Sam Darnold guy. I'm gonna make excuses for.
Here's the thing: is you're not going to see Sam Darnold with the full bevy of weapons against a team that is starting. You know what I mean? You're really not going to get a lot. No. Here's what we can say:
it's going to be Sam to Ronnie Bell all freaking day.
Well, it's going to be a good tandem, though, isn't it?
So good.
Can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. Did I cut you off? Were you going to finish did you have something else you wanted to say?
I forget what I was going to say. It wasn't that important, I'm sure.
It was just rude. Should we play some prize picks to cleanse our palate?
Let's do it.
Okay, sounds good. So the thing about prize picks this week is that we're not going to do Niners because they're like, it's not even a real game and they don't have any Niners up yet. So let's do whatever.
Let's go teams that have to win this week. So we know that they're going to play their guys. So CJ Stroud definitely has to play. Okay. CJ Stroud, 257.5 against Indianapolis, fighting for a playoff spot. More. By the way, CJ Stroud, when he's not in, that team struggles big time. So talk about carrying a team. Yeah. We were talking early yesterday on Twitter, like the ranking quarterbacks, and we pretty much agreed on a consensus top 7 and had Purdy in like a tier right outside of that, along with Stroud, wouldn't you say? Stroud, Love. Well, it was the way, I guess what I was trying to say is it's hard to not make an argument for some of those guys, right? Yeah. I mean, obviously Cousins, when he's healthy, he's going to be in that argument. Dak's going to be in the argument. Some would say Hurts still, I guess. But I guess my overarching point is that the league most of the time has about 7 mainstay guys. You go to any year, you look at top 10 quarterbacks, there's 6 or 7 that are mainstays, and then the bottom half of the top 10 is a revolving door. And so what you want is, can you get a quarterback? You look at guys like Love and Stroud and Purdy, who have had fantastic years, Dak Prescott, what have you. Can they do it multiple years in a row and be mainstays in that eventual top 7? We'll see. Time will tell. But for right now, there's an argument to be made that they could all be in the top 10. But a lot of guys are in the top 10 for a year, sometimes every other year. Kirk Cousins has been there off and on for 7 or 8 years, but nobody thinks I don't think he's a franchise caliber quarterback. That's just me personally. Dak Prescott's been in there a couple times. I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. So you really have to be a mainstay in that top 7 or so to be considered elite, in my opinion. 1 year's not good enough. Did you hear what Kyle Shanahan said today about Matthew Stafford? No. He says he's as good as any quarterback he's ever evaluated. I think that's a direct quote. Ooh.
He said that today on the record. I thought that was interesting.
From a talent perspective, I mean, there's not anything that Matthew Stafford cannot do. There isn't. So
let me get that direct quote. Because I think, hey, hold on. Okay, so Matt Stafford, who is as good as anyone that I've ever studied. Anyone that I've ever studied. So he's as good as Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Dan Marino, John Elway.
Maybe he didn't study. Well, hold on. To be fair, he didn't study Tom Brady. Otherwise, Tom Brady would have been here instead of Jimmy Garoppolo. So maybe he hasn't studied him. I'll give him the out.
Said that, man. I take him as a guy who studied his game and the history of the game and grew up around the game. Okay, look, I'm not even disputing it. Matthew Stafford is really good, but he never said that about Purdy. I just want to say, he never said
from a talent perspective. There really is not anything that you could
Kyle
give.
Didn't qualify it at all. Stafford. He just said is as good as anyone I've ever studied.
Yeah, okay,
that's just all he said. No. Anyway, we're getting.
He's very good. He's very good. He's a borderline Hall of Famer. Right now, he's in that 7 that I mentioned. That is a mainstay in the top 7 for sure. He's there, but I mean, the best you've ever evaluated, I don't know.
Okay, Jordan Love has to win 245.5 against Chicago.
Chicago's defense has been playing really, really good ball. Oh man, I'd be curious to see if Watson's back. I'll go more. But if Watson's not there, that one might be iffy.
What about Mike Evans? 67.5 receiving yards against Carolina. They need to win.
I'll go more. Yeah.
More. You trust Mike. What about Tyreek Hill? 94.5 going for some accolades.
They have to win too. Otherwise, they don't get home field against Buffalo.
Ooh. Tyreek.
You know what? I trust Tyreek. I do not trust Tua. I'm going to go less. And I don't think Waddle's playing either.
I like it. All right, two more. What stands out to you? Baker, DK, CD, Gino, Dak.
Dak's probably not going to play.
Let's go to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Minshew, Baker, Derek Carr, Tua.
Everything on Minshew. Can we risk everything on Minshew?
Hell yeah, let's do it. 274.5 more. Demon time.
No, because you have to take more.
Yeah,
I don't like that one at all. Not against the Texans.
Okay, that's a good defense.
You know what? Let's take the easy one. Let's take the 199.
Boom. I like that.
I like
easy
that
money. One more. Which one would you like? You want a running back? How about a running back?
Let's go running backs.
Stop when you see one. Josh Allen. A lot of James Cook today.
James Cook. Let's go more on the 49 against that.
More? Okay, I like it. And let's put a little more money online. Okay, $40 to win 480. Let's do that.
I like it.
So we got Stroud more.
So get this. Hold on. Somebody told me in my show, and I do not condone this. Do not tail us expecting to win. But somebody told me, thanks to our picks last week, they won $500. They tailed our picks from last week and won $500. Nice. I was like,
nice,
okay, sweet.
Me and Ryan won $500 last week too. Ryan was on fire. Ryan's very good at this.
Dang. Okay.
Ryan's excellent at this. He just has I don't know. He's intuitive. Anyway, if you want to try, use promo code COHN, COHN. I would appreciate it. I would really hope that you do this. 100% deposit match up to $100. That's just generous. Thank you very much. Okay. Speaking of James Cook, should the 49ers sign Dalvin Cook?
You know what? Every time a big name becomes a free agent, and he is a big name, regardless of what he's done this year. He's only 28 years old still. I would have been for Dalvin Cook if this was the offseason, maybe even a few games into the season, because I'm looking at it saying, wow, if anybody can mimic CMC in this offense, it's Dalvin Cook, who's played in this offense before and done very, very well in this offense. He's a good blocker. He can run good routes. He's a good pass catcher. At one time was a very good runner. Yes, absolutely. I don't think so anymore. I think this is one they absolutely should stay away from. I look at Mason. I like Mason better at this stage in his career. I certainly like Mitchell better at this stage in his career. I'm fine with the running backs that the 49ers have. Now, I guess the argument against that could be, well, what if Dallas signs him, or what if the Ravens sign him? I say let him have him. Let him have him. Dalvin Cook doesn't scare me at this stage in his career. I'm good.
I'd rather have Jordan Mason and Elijah Mitchell than Dalvin Cook at this stage. But I think what's so interesting and instructive about the Dalvin Cook experience is that he's only 28 and he's fallen off a freaking cliff. The last 4 years from 2019 to 2022, 1,100 yards every year. He had 1,500 yards in 2020, but at least 1,100 yards every year. Even last year, 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns, 4.4 yards per carry. He was good. Now, this year, 214 yards on 67 carries and 3.2 yards per carry. So running backs fall off a cliff. We see it all the time. It's not when they hit 35 or 30. A lot of times it's at 20.
It's around 28 years old. Look at Zeke.
Well, how old? I'm bringing that back to the 49ers.
He's 27.
Yeah. And I'm not saying he's going to fall off a cliff next year, but I'm not saying he won't. He just pulled his calf. These things happen quickly. I'm not saying that has to be careful with Christian, but you have to understand that these things could be fleeting. This could be the year. This could be the last great year Christian McCaffrey has, or next year could be the last great year. Don't take it for granted.
No, you're absolutely right about that. And I've been talking about it all year, to the fact that this year has to be a year that they win. Because if I told you that CMC, after all the touches he got this year at 27, turning 28 next year, was going to lose it, with the evidence that running backs tend to around this age,
yeah,
you wouldn't be that surprised. If I told you that George Kittle fell off next year, or Armstead was a shell of himself, Trent Williams retired, there's so many things that could happen. You just never know. I mean, we watched the 49ers team under Harbaugh completely lose all their best players overnight, unexpectedly.
So they're like, oh, who's the coach? Our D-line coach?
Right. So that's it. So you have to take advantage of these situations. This year is their best opportunity to get it done. They have to get it done this year. And you're right. I don't think CMC will, but I mean, God, you can't predict these things. When it happens like that, and there's nothing you can do. You see it happen all the time, and I always go back to fighting, MMA and boxing. But you see it happen where fighters seem almost untouchable, and then out of nowhere they get shocked and knocked out, and then everybody's knocking them out. It's like, how the hell did that? Saw it with Roy Jones, Anderson Silva, some all-time greats, and you didn't see it happen, or you didn't see it coming, and then when it happened, that was it. It was over for them. So,
I mean, this guy was it wasn't long ago that I thought he was as good as, he was like a top 5 running back in the league. He could sort of do a little bit of everything. And now no one wants you. You're done. It's over. And it's gone. Like, okay. Well,
and based off of his season last season, he was a coveted free agent. When the Jets got him, it was like, oh my God, the Jets with Aaron Rodgers and Dalvin Cook. Are you kidding? With Breece Hall? No, he's a shell of himself.
Yeah. All right. Well, good luck, Dalvin. Get some super chats. No, we got you. Dave Barclay. Grant Cohn's content creator tree is deaf deeper. I think so. I think so, man. So many talented people. At least 15 people that don't even mess with me anymore still got their start, and I'm proud of it. Dave Barclay says, seen grown men run with 71 coming at them in Jacksonville. 71 is special. Yes. Nee says, Big Dom MVP. Eagles fell apart without him. Big Dom. It's true. That is true. There's a reason he was down there. Cooley says, forget the Pro Bowl. It's Super Bowl or bust. If no chip, then clean house starting with banana hands. I love it, Cooley. Don't forget
it. Grant's all for it. He's like, yeah,
I love it, man. Fire everyone. Matt McEwen says, I'm late and just found out about BA. It's upsetting. I mean, for him. Sorry. Alan from Coles says, could Kyle split reps? You can do whatever he wants.
Oh, yeah.
Fish and Chip says, is there hierarchy the presser? Where are you at? Did I not ask a question today? Did ask a question today. Ask Kyle about the Rams.
I feel like I hear your voice on every press conference.
I try to ask at least one question. I try. Nee says, we talk negatively about our O-line outside of Trent, but everyone else talks about how good our O-line is. Why the inconsistency? Byproduct of the system? Well, let's just keep in mind, a lot of people said for years that Mike McGlinchey was really good. Broncos fell for it. They must regret that contract a lot. So maybe a lot of it is just PFF hyper or something.
Well, there was a guy on Pat McAfee's show today talking about how great the offensive line is. And that gentleman also called McKivitz John McKivitz. So that should tell you why there's a discrepancy.
Who said that?
I forget his name. He's an offensive line guy. So he was breaking down film. He called him John McKivitz. So if you're wondering why the inconsistency, maybe because they don't even know the players' names. That could be a part of it. I'll just throw that out there.
Okay. All right. Adam Gardner says, yo, Grant, why are some of your viewers going at Larry lately? What did he say? I don't really understand the content creator wars, and I try to stay above it. But I think something about Brandon Ayuk. I don't know. Or maybe something about another content creator. I don't know. But you know what, Adam? That's a better question for Larry. Why are you trying to get me in the middle of stuff? I see what you're doing, Adam. You're a $9.99 instigator, and I don't appreciate it.
Yeah, why? Hold on a second. Why does it have to be? Why does it have to be Grant's viewers as if he's like sent them to go over there and start some sort of war? Like maybe you should look at what that gentleman's saying on his platform, and maybe you would understand why.
I didn't even understand the question. Yeah, Adam, I don't know, man. I'm not in charge of my viewers, and plus, they're not my viewers. These people watch all the content creators. Isn't that true? Not my viewers. They're Niner fans who watch multiple shows. Adam, Dave Bart. I mean, I feel like a lot of people watch me and Larry and Jesse and Ryan, right?
I feel like you obviously were over there, so you've been at both channels. Are you a Grant viewer or a Larry viewer?
Do you have a t-shirt? Say I'm a Larry viewer, but I dabble with Grant a little bit. Dave Barclay says if Dak doesn't play, does Trey or the rush?
Dak has to play. If they lose and Philly wins, I think Philly wins the division. So Dak's going to play, I would assume.
Who's Philly playing? They're going to lose. A team? They're going to lose. I want to know who Philly's playing.
They're Giants. They are probably going to lose.
The Giants will beat them because the Giants are a team.
If I was Philly, I would rest my starters. I would just take a week off and try to get it figured out.
Don't take another shot to your confidence and ego. Matt McEwen says, laugh my freaking ass off. Someone in the chat said Jesse cost him 200.
Listen, hold on, Matt. To be fair, I did say, don't tail me. I don't want any of that juju. But however, I am going to take credit for the people that won. I will take, but I take no credit for those of you that lost. Do not tail me. I am not betting myself. I wouldn't expect you to bet, and I don't want that responsibility. Please do not do that.
Official BNA Music 88 says Brock's caddy said Brock is going to prove you wrong. I don't understand. That one's above my head, man. But I liked your. He did a electric guitar rendition of.
It was good.
Yeah, it was great. Anyway, fish and chips. Other teams platoon 2 running backs, not Lil Shanny. No. It does seem like there are 5 players that can dictate their own playing time on the Niners and can pretty much are not coachable. Are coached. Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. Is that
Shanahan's rap name? If he was a rapper, is that what it would
Lil
be?
Shanny?
Lil Shanny.
I think so. Shanny F baby. J Figs Ramon says Brock's a lock and it's Purdy Cabo Click producing this year. Brock's a lock and it's Purdy Cabo Click producing this year. Is Brock going to get invited to Cabo because he can't afford it? How's that going to work?
Oh, good question. They'd have to pay for it, right?
I'd like to know how they're going to work that out because they got to bring Brock. They got to figure that out. He can have guest suites.
I don't know why Brock seems like he's above the riffraff. He wouldn't show up even if he was invited. He's like, no, I'm
get there.
Hang out with my future wife.
Dave Barclay says, I watch you, Jesse and Ryan. I appreciate it, Dave. Thank you. Nick Hutchinson said Brock had no Pro Bowl wide receivers, no help. It's true. It's true.
Two alternates. Let's scrubs.
All right. So the Niners in the first round of the divisional round, second round, but their first playoff game, it's possible they could face the Rams. It's possible they could face the Eagles. They could face other teams too, but of those two, which team do you think would be a tougher out for the 49ers?
I think it's likely they face either the Rams or the Eagles. Just kind of seeing how this is going to shape up. I think the Rams certainly could beat either team that they match up against, and they would be the lower seed, so they would face the 49ers. And as bad as the Eagles have been, I don't trust Tampa at all either. So if they match up with Tampa, probably take the Eagles, maybe. I don't know. That'll be a close one. But, man, I have to go with the quarterback that is closest to being elite in the NFC, and that would be Matthew Stafford. As we were talking earlier, he's a mainstay in that top 7. He's certainly earned his stripes. He's a very, very good quarterback. One of the best that Kyle Shanahan's ever evaluated, apparently. So, I'm going to go with
as any quarterback he has ever studied. That's an exact quote. And I think I'm not making too much of that. Kyle he knows what he says. As good as any quarterback he's ever studied. Nice. Okay. Hey, he won a Super Bowl. Beat the Niners.
I mean, maybe
try to find him.
You should have tried a little harder to get him anyways. But that being said, you've also got some good, but you've got a young defense that is playing better as the years gone along. They're coached well. Kyron Williams is a very, very good running back. I mean, I think, is he not second in rushing in the NFL, or he's up there, and he missed like 4 games with injury. He's had a very, very good season. So, I'm going to have to go with the Rams. I think the Rams would be a much tougher out than the Eagles.
Let me get that Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams right now is, he's second in the league after McCaffrey. Interesting. Wow. James Cook is 3rd. DeAndre Swift is 4th in yards.
Quarterback play and running back play is just way down this year, is it not?
I just feel like what I like about the NFL is it's like the seesaw between offense and defense. Really smart coaches. And for a while, I felt like offense had totally pulled ahead. They were, Tom Brady throwing for 5,000 yards at 45, just embarrassing these defenses. And then defenses adjust. They're doing a really good job and really turning the NFL into a dink and dunk marathon. Is a check down show.
Check down Charlie.
Check down Charlie. I mean, this is all. It's just check down after check down after check down. These 2 deep safeties, basically taking away big plays. Kind of sucks. I like big plays. Maybe they should do like they do in baseball and take away the shift. You can't play that anymore. You got to play some single high. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously.
And when you play single high, you see guys like Patrick Mahomes get giddy on that quarterback show. He's like, oh, you're going to play single high. When it was actually against the 49ers. Oh, you're going to play single high. I've been waiting for this all season. Thank you very much. Now you're going to get torched. So that's
why I was seen as revolutionary when the Seahawks were playing that in like 2011. People were like, just cover 3. You just can't beat it. I was like, no one runs that anymore. You could just
at all
light it up. So I think that's part of it.
For Seattle, but they're also awful. They have very good players, but they run a cover 3 and they are atrocious.
All right. Well, we both agree the Rams are the team you don't want to face. It bugs me that Puka Nacua got a Pro Bowl nod and Brandon Ayuk didn't, because that's totally a function of targets, and Ayuk can't control that. All Ayuk can do is do the most with what he's given, and he did the most with what he's given. Arguably of any wide receiver in the league. 71% completion catch percentage, 18.3 yards per catch. Get the hell out of here. No one else touched that. I sound like his agent right now. It just bothers me. I mean,
if it was me, I would take Puka Nacua out. I would take Evans out. Evans is fantastic, by the way, still getting it done. But I would take them out, and I would add in Amon-Ra St. Brown and Brandon Ayuk.
Like Ayuk, to me, if you were going to use a basketball metaphor, he's a basketball player averaging like maybe 22 a game, but shooting 48% from 3. It's like, okay, well, he's on a great team and he only gets about 15 shots a game, but he's shooting 48% from 3. How is he not an all-star?
Are you calling him like prime Klay Thompson now? Because that's basically what happened with Klay.
Prime Klay Thompson, yeah.
Always overlooked.
Yeah. But if you really watched the Warriors, you understood he was as important as anyone.
Two-way player. You look at Ayuk, great blocker, does all the little things. So there you go.
Yeah. Anyway, he'll still get his money. Okay. 49ers or the field in the NFC. If you had to make a sizable wager, like this is serious. You got to put a lot of money down. An entire paycheck. 2. The NFC, the entire field, 6 teams, or the Niners. Who are you putting your money on?
First of all, don't tail me on this. Again, disclaimer. I don't want any responsibility, but I I would have to take the 49ers. And here's what I was thinking of, Grant. So we watched the 49ers get beat pretty soundly by the Baltimore Ravens, yet somehow the 49ers were still the favorites to win the Super Bowl. How could that be? And the only conclusion that I can come to is that you look at the 49ers versus the NFC, and there's not really a scenario that you look at where you think that they could lose. But if you go to the AFC, because the AFC is so much better, you can see multiple scenarios where Baltimore potentially loses. I think if Baltimore and San Francisco meet in the Super Bowl, Baltimore will be the favorite, even though the 49ers were the favorite to win the Super Bowl going into the playoffs.
Mhm.
And that's because of the competition levels in the AFC and the NFC. I think the path is pretty clear. I know it's 6 versus 1 when you take the field, but really it's 2 versus 1 because the 49ers are only going to have to play 2 teams. And you can give me any 2 teams you want back to back to play the 49ers in Levi, and I'm taking the 49ers. So I'm going to take the 49ers versus the field, and I would feel pretty comfortable about making that wager if I had to.
You said something interesting. I'm with you on. I agree. I would take the 49ers. I'm not betting on any team in the NFC. There are teams that have an outside chance to make things interesting, and that's like the Rams. I would not say the Eagles. I would not say the Cowboys. I say the Rams and Green Bay. And I don't expect them to beat the Niners. So, yeah, I'm putting my money on the Niners. You said that the Niners would be favored over the Ravens if they were to play.
No, I think the Ravens would be favored over the Niners.
I wish there was a way to check that, but I
think
can't.
the Ravens would be favored over the Niners.
That'd be interesting. Maybe they would.
Even though the 49ers are
favored to win the Super Bowl.
It's because of the path to get there. Once they get there, though, I mean, you saw it. And I'm not saying the 49ers wouldn't win that game. They certainly would have a great shot at it. But watching it play out, and then if you add in, let's say Andrews is back for the Super Bowl, it's like, oh, okay, well, hold on. So they went to Levi and won the game. And now they're playing at a neutral field. And they've added Mark Andrews. Like, yeah, the Ravens would be the betting favorite, I would imagine.
Mark Andrews is coming back.
It sounds like he's most likely back if they make the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Let me bring this back full circle to earlier in the show. Not full circle. But here's how you know the Niners shouldn't sign Dalvin Cook. The Ravens won't sign him. They need Dalvin Cook from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw Gus Edwards. He's not scaring anyone. Justice Hill is okay. But yeah, they could definitely use
Justice Hill.
Oh, yeah, nice receiving back for sure. But they don't really have anyone they don't have a ball carrier that scares anyone.
They're basically choosing Melvin Gordon, who's 30 and washed, over Dalvin Cook at this point. True. Assuming they don't sign Dalvin. Maybe they do. I could see them potentially. I could see Dallas potentially, but maybe nobody signs them. And that's kind of crazy to think about.
Is James Cook related to Dalvin Cook?
Yeah, they're brothers.
They're brothers. Okay, so yeah, you want James Cook at this point. James Cook is 24, averaging 4.8 yards per carry, and is 1,000 yards. Only 2 touchdowns, though. But still, that's a team that could give the Niners problems in the Super Bowl if they make it, which they may not even make the playoffs.
I think there's multiple teams. Buffalo's an interesting case because if they win, they're the 2nd seed. If they lose, they may not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's wow, what a strange scenario. You could be the 2nd seed or you're out of the playoffs. Okay.
Yeah. I have a feeling they're going to make the playoffs and make a deep run. That's a serious team. I think they lost some close games. They got unlucky a little bit.
Yeah, you're going to get them. Oh, man, the AFC is going to be fun. You could get Cleveland versus Baltimore in round 2 and Bills versus Chiefs in round 2.
Ooh. I was hoping they could get Baltimore and Cleveland in the AFC Championship, but one way or another, they need to play in the playoffs. Those 2 teams.
Yeah, that would be hard to do because Cleveland is the 5th seed, and I guess it depends on if a 6th or a 7th seed wins. Which
AFC playoffs are going to be so good. They're going to be so good. The top 4 in the AFC are incredible.
2 things that we have to see, and I would love to see. I would love to see the Rams in Detroit because Stafford going back to Detroit. How great would that be?
Yes.
And Flacco going to play Baltimore. We have to see those 2 things.
Absolutely. It's too bad that Aaron Rodgers isn't healthy. So there could have been like a Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers thing at maybe next year.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Packard made the right call.
Yes. Oh, yes. Love's good. Love is very good.
Packers may not be the best organization, but they seem to know what the hell they're doing at quarterback.
Yeah.
Since I was a
they do.
child. They basically have had a plan since I was about 7 years old, 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good for them.
Yeah, we'll see though. I mean, Love is playing very good, but let's see a couple seasons before we're fully sold. But as of now, it looks like they definitely made the right decision. Russell Wilson, Seattle made the right decision, even though Geno's not that great himself, but that was clearly the right decision.
They had they got rid of Russell Wilson at the right time, but if they had just gotten their Brock Purdy, they'd been so much better. They gave up a lot of money to a quarterback who, like the Mike McGlinchey of quarterbacks. Everyone tells me how good he is.
They need to draft Penix.
You need to get Penix. Penix look good. Yeah. I came into the game thinking he's Tua, and I left the game thinking he's better than that. Way stronger.
Some of those throws, oh my gosh, man. 24 years old, though. Him and Bo Nix are the same age as Brock Purdy. That's crazy.
I think all of a sudden, you used to want the youngest quarterbacks possible, but it's like you want experienced quarterbacks who can play throughout their rookie contract, not guys you have to develop. Unless the Packers have a great system developing quarterbacks. They've been able to do it. Most of the teams can't. I'd like to know what the Packers do.
You put Penix on Seattle, he could play right away. For sure.
Seattle sucks. That's my analysis of that team. I picked them to win the division. I'm pissed.
Yeah, I don't think you were that far off. A lot of people are trying to like circle back and be like, anybody who thought Seattle, because I thought Seattle would be pretty good too. Their players, I didn't pick them to win the division. That was no, I'm just kidding. But their players are very good. They have the talent. Their coaching is awful. There is no creativity. If you watch them, I think the most in the league, what they show pre-snap on defense is exactly what they do post-snap. So you know exactly what they're doing on defense, which that's not setting anybody up for success. And then on offense, they run the least amount of pre-snap motion. There's no creativity. It's like watching a 1970s team. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's like Pete Carroll's always trying to tell you, I want to run the ball. All right, well, you're going to get offensive coordinators who are going nowhere because those aren't the ones who are upwardly mobile. The ones who have career prospects are the ones who throw the ball.
Right.
Passing league.
No, last I heard. Awful coaching. Awful coaching.
Fish and Chips says they're going to finish last in that division next year, by the way. Cardinals looking up. Rams rebuilding. Seahawks stuck with Geno. Cool. That's their Jimmy Garoppolo. Fish and Chips says, I healthy scratch content creators every week. Ooh. Nice. Wow, I like it. Official BNA Music 88 says it was in reference to Jesse's BP stat tweet. What was? Hold on.
What was?
Brock's caddy. Brock is gonna.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. Oh, no. What happened was, so I had put out before the season started. I had put out what I thought Brock Purdy's numbers were going to be, and I said 11 interceptions, and somebody said, "You're a hater. There's no way he gets 11 interceptions." And so I kindly replied today and said, "What do you think?" And he's like, yeah, but how did Trey do? I'm like, no, don't move the goalposts. I'm asking you, what do you think? You said he wouldn't have 11 interceptions, and that's exactly what he had.
There you go. Eureka says, do either of you fear the Rams in a wild card game even remotely? I personally am wary of them. It's just they lost by one score in week 1 with no cup. And they have the best quarterback Kyle's ever seen. There's reason to be remotely concerned.
Fear is a pretty strong emotion. No, definitely not. But I think that I think if you can avoid playing the best quarterback in the conference, then yeah, sure, I would prefer to do that. But I think
anytime you go into a game with the second best quarterback on the field, there's something to be concerned about.
Yeah. And I don't know that you can definitively say that against any other quarterback in the NFC. Not right now. I mean, I'd take
Dak isn't necessarily better
against any of them.
Yeah. The thing about the Rams, though, is like, okay, so they do have a run game for the first time in years. That's a big deal for them. They've been trying to replace Todd Gurley for 5 years. Yeah. Finally have. Still, their offense is not explosive, in my opinion. There's nothing explosive about their offense.
No.
They have 2 wide receivers who run 4.6s that are really good and a running back who's not super fast. They're methodical. They're efficient. But the Niners are explosive.
That's the thing, is that if you want to force teams to go on long drives, because the hope is they eventually make a mistake. Now, when you have a player like Stafford, sometimes he makes those mistakes.
Yes, he does.
Sometimes he goes against the best defense, arguably in the NFL, in Cleveland and Baltimore, and lights them up. So you just don't know what you're going to get. But those receivers are very unique in the sense that you got like Charvarius Ward, who will go with big body receivers and travel. You can't do that. Puka Nacua and Kupp are so unique in what they do and such crisp route runners. And the way that they run the shallow crossers, they're unguardable one-on-one. You just can't play that same game plan. So it does make it very, very tough to hold them down. And some teams, great defenses, have struggled against it.
Yep. Waruna Pereira says, will Joe Montana hate Sam Darnold? He hated Steve Young. Well, he's Steve Young 2.0, so probably. Could call Waruna. Good to see you. Manny PSF 95 says, Larry is the Chris Forster of content creators. There is a Chris Forster of content creators. Chris Forster's a good coach.
Chris Forster's a good coach, yeah. So you're saying
Matt
he's a good
McEwen says, I hope Niners stop Puka from record for BA, LOL. Is he going to set a record?
Depends on how much he's going to play. Rookie record, probably, I'd imagine.
Manny PSF 95 says, we need to start a GoFundMe for Brock's Cabo trip.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Miguel says, the weakness of this team is the kicker, and I'm surprised no one is talking about it. Are you guys comfortable with Moody kicking a winning field goal?
No. And I feel like we talked about it a lot, but you just see so many weeks go by where they don't have to kick long field goals. I mean, I don't know. And when he does, it's still shaky. It's shaky, but you got to see it.
That would be an issue for the Super Bowl, I think, not necessarily the NFC playoffs. J. Figs Ramon says, we need carries from JP Mason and Mitchell to win it all. Cabo Click will pay for Brock's discount flight to come hang. They better. That is a story I'm going to be following closely all offseason. The Cabo trip. I'm going to go myself. Who's there? I need to know.
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego, but for Brock Purdy?
Yeah. Who paid for his ticket? Matt McEwen says, I love Seattle coaching. Don't change. They don't.
For
sure.
Keep it.
Daniel Sotelo says, Niners would be -2 in Super Bowl over Ravens. Niners were -5.5 at home. Subtract 2 points for home field advantage would have been -3 on neutral. Now upgrade Ravens and slight decrease for SF. -3.5 goes to -2.
Well, I don't see how you could make them the favorite, but not saying they don't win, but it's hard to make them a favorite. Yeah.
Fish and Chip says, early prediction, who aids Kyle Shanahan through the playoff yips? Me, quality control. Are you kidding? That's what I do.
Brock Purdy. That's why Brock Purdy's here.
Hell
That's
yeah.
the hope, right?
Yeah, McEwen says Puka is 6 receptions, 28 yards, all-time rookie wide receiver. Who has the record? Holden? Who has the record?
Yards? Randy Moss, maybe? Gotta imagine Randy's got to be up there, right?
I want to know. Let me see. Randy Moss, rookie. Ooh, 1,300 as a rookie. That was crazy. Randy was good.
He was
quite good.
Incredible. He was incredible.
Yeah. He ran like 2-3 routes, and you couldn't stop him.
No.
Anyway. That was a great show.
Is that the show? Is that the show?
That was the show. It was so good. Let's just sit here for a second and think about it.
Let's bask in the glory of the show.
It's good. I liked it.
Whisper sweet nothings.
We were both in a flow state during the show.
Yeah, we were.
Oh, absolutely.
What? Just taking everybody behind it. This is, by the way, this is what we do after the show's over when nobody's watching and we're backstage. We just like pump each other up for 5 minutes. We're like, all right, man, have a good week. And then that's it.
You're a freaking star.
You were a superstar. So good. I couldn't have done it without you, really.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow with the coach. It's a really important week. Who's going to play in a game that doesn't matter? Stay tuned. Stay freaking tuned. Watch everything that we put out, okay? Because this is an important time of year.
I've got behind enemy lines coming up in 4 minutes. If you want to know what's going to happen between Sam Darnold and Carson Wentz, tune in over there. Actually, we're going to have a lot of conversations about the playoffs that has nothing to do with the game. But Rams content creator and myself will be going live 4 minutes. Last Second Sports. Tap in. At the buzzer, Dave Barkley says, great effing show, guys. Great effing show. Love y'all. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, Dave. See you guys. Go tap in with Last Second Sports right now.